Good morning, everyone. I've been informed that we're live, so we can now begin. Good morning and welcome to this application for a variation of premises license for Express Pizza and Chicken at 172 Portland Road, Hove, Bravo November 3, 5 Quebec November. Before we get started, could I ask the councillors on the panel, please, to elect a chair amongst themselves?
Could I nominate John Hewitt, please?
I'm on mute.
We can hear you, Councillor Thompson.
Can you? How come?
I can't answer that question, I'm afraid.
It says I'm on mute. It says I've been muted. So, okay. I didn't mute myself. I will second that.
Councillor Hewitt, you are the chair for this hearing.
Thank you, everyone. So before we begin, we've just got to run over a bit of procedural business. So amongst the councillors, are there any declarations of substitute for today? No. Thanks there. And are there any declarations of interest from any of the councillors? No, that's no from all of us. Thank you. And there are no non-public items on the agenda, and therefore we will not be excluding the press and public for any item today. We're being a webcast, so all is in open session. So this is an application for a variation of a premises licence for Express Pizza and Chicken, 172 Portland Road, Hove, BN3 5QN. Before we begin, we'll just do a round of introductions, and as we're meeting online, if people could have their cameras on when they're speaking, please, and their microphones off when they're not. So I'll begin. I'm John Hewitt, a councillor in Hampton Knoll Ward and a member of the licensing committee. I'll go to Alison first.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Alison Thompson. I'm Labour Councillor for Regency and a member of the Licensing Committee. Thank you.
Paul.
My name is Paul Nan. I'm a councillor for Wish.
Frankie.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Frankie Mitchell. I'm with Democratic Services and I'm clerking this morning's meeting. Thank you.
Donna.
Good morning. Donna Linsdale from the Licensing Authority presenting this application today. Thank you.
Corinne.
Nearly did the classic then. Good morning, everybody. I'm Corinne Hardcastle. I'm one of the licensing officers and I've put in a representation to this application.
Thank you. Hannah.
Morning, my name's Hannah Staplehurst. I'm here on behalf of Sussex Police as a Brighton licensing officer, and I will be here for the police submissions.
Graham.
Good morning, Chair. Graham Hopkins, Duty Licensing Consultants. You can't see him on screen, but Mr. Khan is next to me.
Hello.
Hello there. Thanks, Rebecca.
Yeah, good morning. Rebecca Siddell, Legal Advisor to the panel.
Thank you. And Sarah.
Good morning, Sarah Booker-Lewis, Local Democracy Reporter for Brighton and Hove, representing the majority of news media in the city.
Oh, lovely. Thanks very much. We're ready to begin now. So I'm going to hand over to our licensing officer, Donna, to introduce the application.
Thank you, Chair. This hearing's for a variation of a current licence for Express Pizza and Chicken, 172 Portland Road, Hove. The applicant is proposing to extend the current late night refreshment hours from 1 a.m. every day until 5 a.m. every day. After 1 a.m. on any day of the week, the premises would operate a delivery-only service. I will leave it to the applicant to explain the application in more detail. Part M, the operating schedule of the application, is detailed at Appendix A, page 39, and the plan of the premises is attached at Appendix B, page 44. The existing licence can be seen from page 41. 2 representations have been received. They were received from Sussex Police and the Licensing Authority. These representations had concerns related to the prevention of crime disorder and the prevention of public nuisance. Full details of the representations can be found in Appendix D from page 45, licensing and police from page 49. Proposed conditions have been agreed with police licensing, but only if the variation is granted until 5 a.m. Environment Protection have agreed conditions with the applicant, which has been circulated to the panel and found in today's papers. Both the application for the licence and the representations to the application were made when the previous 2021 statement of licence policy was in force and therefore had regard to that policy. On the 5th of January 26, a new 5-year statement of licence policy came into force. This policy forms the basis of the papers today and is what the panel must have regard to when reaching their decisions on this application. The applicant's agent the applicant's agent has been made aware of this. A matrix approach to the licence decision has been adopted. It provides a firm framework of what the licence authority would like to see within its area and gives an indication of the likelihood of success of an otherwise to investors and businesses making applications. The matrix states fast food premises located under outside area may be granted until midnight with deliveries until 2 a.m. Page 15. 3.4.4 states each application will be considered on its own merits. However, the licence authority will apply the matrix approach in all cases unless there are exceptional circumstances which justify to depart from this approach. The licence authority will determine exceptional circumstances on a case-by-case basis. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. So I'm now going to open up for any questions from anyone to Donna. I've got one to begin with, please. On section 3.3 of the papers, which we received, which has the table for the proposed activities, it's clear that it says deliveries only from 1 a.m. Until 5 a.m. But underneath it says hours the premises are open to the public, and it's got until 5 a.m. So are you able to confirm that the premises will or won't be open till 5 to members of the public to go into?
I believe they've advised that from 1 a.m. until 5 a.m. it would be deliveries only, but maybe the applicant can confirm that. But they have applied for 5 a.m.
For the premises to be open. Okay, we can catch up when we move round to the applicants, unless, of course, Graham, you wanted to come in now to clarify that one point.
If I may, Chair, yes, anything after 1 o'clock would be home deliveries only. But I can tell the panel at this stage, if I may, Chair, the application is going to be reduced to 3 o'clock anyway, all week.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you for that.
Chair.
Very useful. So any more questions, Paul or Alison?
No, thank you, Chair.
Not from me, thanks, Chair.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Corinne?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thanks. Hannah?
Yes, please, Chair. Just in Donna's speech, she made note that conditions have been agreed with police licensing. Just to confirm on that, the conditions that I believe Graham has proposed is following a conversation we had on Friday. That isn't saying that we've agreed to them. It was just my proposal to say this is what we would have expected to see, but I haven't agreed them, and we are still asking for the application to be refused. So I just wanted to get that in at the beginning so there was no conflict as I go into my submission.
Oh, thank you for clarifying that, Hannah.
Thank you.
Graham, have you got any questions to Donna at this stage?
No, Chair, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks, so we can move on to the representation from the responsible authorities, and I'll ask Hannah if you're okay to go first from Sussex Police, please.
Thank you, Chair. So as you have just heard, this is a variation of a premises licence in an area of the city which is subject to a special policy adopted by the Brighton and Hove City Council. The premises lies in the others area as defined in the Statement of Licensing Policy and seeks the following licensable hours for late night refreshment off the premises Monday to Sunday, 2300 hours to 0500. The premises currently has a premises license which allows late night refreshment until 1 a.m. So in accordance with the Brighton and Hove City Council Statement of Licensing Policy in 2021, which was when the application was placed, late night refreshment in the others area is only until midnight. So therefore the premises licence already benefits from additional hours from that proposed. However, if the new policy, which was brought in on the 25th of January 2026, stands, then the premises may benefit an additional hour as it suggests 2 a.m. as a terminal hour. The applicant has offered conditions within the operating schedule. However, I do not believe that they demonstrate exceptional circumstances to depart from this policy or to offer anything further to give confidence to Sussex Police. Sussex Police had also been in communication with the applicant's previous representation. I had asked the applicant to consider pulling the application into 2 a.m, allowing 1 hour of additional deliveries. But at the time of the representation letter by Sussex Police being submitted, no conditions or agreement was reached, and the previous representation had asked for 3 a.m. But when this was refused by Sussex Police, no further communication was received. And that was until Mr. Graham Hopkins sent an email to police licensing on the 19th of January asking for a phone call. However, Sussex Police have very little confidence in the premises licence holder who is applying for this application. The premises was found in breach of the current licence by carrying out unauthorised activities on the 7th of August 2025. A breach letter with photographic evidence was sent to the premises licence holder. Previous to this, a breach letter was issued on the 2nd of February 2022 by PC Hancock's for the same concerns and breaches of the premises licence. These breaches and visits were following a number of visits to the premises since 2019, where the CCTV, which is currently one of only 2 conditions on the current licence, was being breached every police visit. Following on from this, it has been noted that all reports to police recording any antisocial behaviour also stopped in 2022, which is a concern that the premises is not recording any incidents experienced. Following these breaches, no communication has ever been received from the premises licence holder, who also did not pre-consult with Sussex Police prior to the submission of this application. As I have mentioned, I did receive an email from the applicant's new representative, Graham Hopkins, and we had a phone conversation on Friday the 23rd of January, where I shared all my concerns regarding visits since 2019 and how Sussex Police have no working relationship or confidence in his client, and currently believe that should the panel grant this application with any conditions that have been offered, that these conditions will immediately be breached and the premises will not operate in a responsible or safe fashion, adhere to the licensing objectives, as the ability to adhere to any conditions has never been evidenced to us. It is for the applicant to demonstrate they will have no negative impact on the surrounding area if they are going to operate into the nighttime economy within Brighton and Hove. If they are unable to do this, then the application should be refused as per the local policy evidence. Currently, Sussex Police do not believe the applicant has gone far enough to evidence why their application should be exception to the policy or how it mitigates the risk of trading until 5 a.m. or how they will adhere to any future conditions. However, I did suggest a number of ways to Mr. Hopkins during our phone call that the premises could improve their operational style moving forward, and should they be willing to do so, and that Sussex Police would be willing to work with them going forwards. But currently, Sussex Police invite the licensing authority to seriously consider refusing this application following the police breaches and concerns, and would propose that the applicant work with Sussex Police, adhere to the current licence conditions, and install the use of positive changes. Then, in order to support the business, a variation could be submitted in the future once the premises has evidenced they are operating safely and in line with the licensing objectives, the premises licence conditions, and in line with the Statement of Licensing Policy. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Hannah. So we'll go around for any questions which anyone may have for you. Paul or Alison, have either of you got anything for Hannah? Paul.
Thank you, Chair. Hannah, is that area considered an area of disorder with a problem with disorder at that time of night?
So I did do a sort of crime statistics search, 0.1 mile sort of exactly around the premises. There were 55 crimes committed in the last year with 19 violent crime. If I expanded the search, bearing in mind that they would be looking to do deliveries, there were 221 crimes with 61 violent crimes committed within that. So it's not the crimes don't sit necessarily as they do sort of within the city centre, and the crimes were quite evenly spread throughout the day and night. So I wouldn't say there was a specific hotspot or a specific time that was a cause for concern. My concern against this application is the fact that the applicant I've got zero confidence in them.
Thank you, Hannah.
Oh, thanks for that. Alison, have you got any questions at this stage?
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Hannah. It's difficult sort of. I must admit, when I was sort of looking at the the pack, there were two sort of specific dates of breaches, but what you're suggesting is actually that it's not just on those two occasions that this has been ongoing, and there seems to be a lack of communication, I suppose, and that's the sort of general gist that I'm getting from you. Is that fair?
Yes, my conversation with Graham, I sort of explained why I gave the latest two breach letters. Before the 2022 breach letter, Sussex Police had been visiting the premises a few times a year from 2019 to 2022. There were breaches in 2019 of the CCTV. 2020, a breach letter for COVID was issued to the premises because they were trading against the guidance that had been given. And then, as I've stated, through 2022, there were just concerns of CCTV. We were visiting, I actually in 2019 had a visit where I was trying to ask for the CCTV as a licensing officer, and I was just getting zero support from the premises in asking for it, and a police officer actually had to step in and ask them to start taking this visit seriously, and I needed support from them. So it has been, again, it's not so much crime related, it is just the issue of we've got that zero confidence, there's no working relationship. We've tried to work with them for a number of years and just got absolutely nothing back that gives me any confidence that these additional four hours with any new conditions that are agreed, with yourselves in granting this license are going to be adhered to, and there's going to be any improvement. And that's where my conversation with Graham on Friday was, moving forward, let's change this, we'll work together, and then potentially in the future, once we've got that relationship and we've got confidence that this can be a safe premises, then I think that would be the right time for a variation to be put in, and potentially having the right conditions in place, then we could look at that. But currently I just don't have that confidence at all. It's something that there's just zero relationship between us and the applicant.
And that is something that the applicant could have done something about. I mean, what you're referring to is obviously 7 years ago, and I don't want to sort of,
Absolutely.
I don't want to hold things against people sort of 7 years later. But if there had been a sort of change in behaviours recently, that might have made a difference. I mean, I don't know if
Absolutely.
now is the appropriate time to ask about this change of hours. I mean, they've said that they don't want 5 o'clock now, that they want 3. I mean, how do you feel about that?
So that's the same conversation as what I had with the applicant's first representation who did the application. And my first response back was to say no, and I'd sort of got into conversation with them to see if they would accept the 2 o'clock, just to try and get conversation rolling to see if we could start making improvements. But I literally got a one-line email back that said my applicant wants 3 a.m. and there was no other form of engagement or communication. So Sussex Police will say no to that, because again, there's just been nothing to evidence that the proposals that we would discuss, and everything I discussed with Graham would be actually adhered to. I just need that time to sort of have that working relationship. I know Graham is working with the applicant at the minute to actually show that these changes can happen and what they're offering is going to be put in place, because even if the licence is refused now, there's nothing to say that they couldn't have an incident log that is recording and noting things down. They couldn't go on and be members of the BCRP and have access to DISC and report through there, which shows they're trading sensibly, especially in those hours. There was nothing really given around delivery drivers of how they would behave around the premises, whether they would be taking their helmets off when they're collecting so you can evidence who they are. So all these sorts of things and all these changes can absolutely be put in place now and show us that they are able to do it. And then a future application may be the right way to then go ahead and grant it. But at the minute, I have just got zero confidence.
Because none of those things are in place currently. So if they had been in place, then it might have put a different light on how you feel today.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
So I mean, despite all the agreements to the various conditions, you're quite adamant. Okay.
Yes,
Oh,
please. Yes, please, Chair. Or Council Committee.
that's okay. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Feb. All. Corinne, have you got any questions of Hannah?
No, thank you, Chair.
Thanks. And Graham, have you got any questions at this stage?
Sorry, Chair. Yes, just one, please, if I may. Ms. Staplehurst has mentioned about keeping an incident book, which obviously moving forward, if the variation is granted, you'll see in the conditions we are offering to do. I would just ask you to confirm, Hannah, that it's not a requirement as a condition at the moment that they have an incident book. Thank you.
No, absolutely not. No, there's only the two conditions on the current licence, and this is where part of my proposal to go forward will work with the applicant is, that would be a positive change as part of the way that they operate, especially when they've already got the late night hours until 1 a.m. So it's about making those positive changes to give us the confidence that they could also then operate into the later hours, should it be granted. But at the minute, I just haven't got that confidence and I haven't seen it at the premises.
Okay, thanks there. So if there's no further questions from anyone for Hannah, thanks for your representation. I'll hand over to Corinne now to present on behalf of the licensing authority.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everybody again. My representation on behalf of the Licensing Authority can be found at Appendix C on pages 45 to 46 of today's agenda. As we've heard, the variation proposes to extend the provision of late night refreshment every day of the week from the existing hours of 1 a.m. Originally in the application it was 5 a.m, but I think we've just heard from Mr. Hopkins that might be amended now to 3 a.m. The licensing team, in its role as a responsible authority, has concerns about this application, and therefore the representation was submitted on the grounds of the licensing objectives of the prevention of crime and disorder and the prevention of public nuisance, and having regard to the Council's statement of licensing policy. This department also had cause to write to the premises in August 2025, as it had come to light that the premises, according to their delivery partner, Just Eat, were advertising opening hours beyond 1 a.m. every day of the week. My letter to the premises licence holder can be found on pages 47 and 48 of today's agenda. It is recognised that these premises is not in either the city safety area or the special stress area. However, this representation is submitted as there are still concerns that the application does not meet the requirements of the Council's statement of licensing policy, especially with regards to application made for fast food premises. As already mentioned, the Council's new statement of licensing policy includes a matrix approach for licensing decisions. This can be found on page 15 of today's agenda, with provisions for a terminal hour for all classes of licensed premises in a particular area. The matrix table shows that fast food premises in other areas, which is where these premises are situated, should have a maximum terminal hour of midnight, with deliveries only until 2 a.m. I'm aware that proposed conditions have been offered by the applicant in their operating schedule and conditions agreed with the Environmental Protection team. My understanding, though, is that any additional conditions that have recently been offered by the agent would only be agreed to if the full variation is granted. Therefore, as these premises are already licensed for late night refreshment until 1 a.m, due to the application being contrary to the matrix approach, I felt it was necessary to bring this application before the panel so you can carefully scrutinise the application and determine the final outcome. Many thanks.
Thank you, Corinne. So any questions for Corinne from any of the councillors, either Paul or Alison?
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Alison.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Corinne. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, obviously we're looking at the matrix approach for other areas. I mean, do you feel that there's any justification now they've reduced it from 5 until 3 a.m.? Does that affect your?
It's obviously welcome, the reduction in hours. Any sort of reduction in hours is welcome, but I think as Hannah has quite clearly set out, again, we haven't had as much involvement in visiting the premises as the police have, but I had nothing back from my letter either, even just acknowledging that they'd sort of received it. So that there is that sort of concern. And also I'm a bit concerned about the idea that some of the conditions that have been put forward, like Hannah mentioned as well, aren't going to be put forward, even if it's got to be the full variation. So even if the panel were minded to maybe give the extra hour within the policy, some of those are quite straightforward conditions you'd expect. Somebody who wanted to be a good and, you know, responsible operator would, you know, I get things like security have a, you know, a financial sort of implication, but things like incident refusal books, I mean, we sort of provide them to the premises ourselves if they wish. So they're very low impact, low cost, and things like Hannah mentioned as well. We would expect to see any operator, because they are already operating, you know, within the late night economy.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that. Just one question from me, please, regarding the Just Eat website timings you referred to earlier. Are you aware of if you know, any activity did take place outside of the licensed hours in, you know, in as per the Just Eat website?
Yeah, as I say, that's where I would have expected, especially if it was just because sometimes the delivery partners do put extra hours on, that you know, that's where I would have expected some response from the applicant, even if it was refuting that, saying that was just a mistake that they had done that. It's unusual for somebody, if they've been sort of accused of trading outside, not to come back and sort of state their case. But we didn't receive any you know, residential complaints as such that was happening. But I would have expected something back from the premises license holder, just to say either yes, unfortunately, but it was an error and they're not doing it anymore, or more the fact that, you know, no, we weren't doing that, but it was just complete radio silence.
Okay, oh, thanks, Fair. Okay, if there's no further questions from any of the councillors, I'll ask if Hannah, if you have any questions of Corinne.
No, thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Fair. And Graham, have you got any questions at this stage?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay, no, thanks, Fair, Corinne, for your representation. And we'll move on to the applicant. So, Graham, if you'd like to make your representation, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. First of all, if I just explain, Mr. Khan is the operator and premises licence holder of Express Pizza and Chicken, and he's here with us today. The application before you, Chair, was originally for 5 o'clock, but we are reducing that to 3 o'clock. So it would be the shop and home deliveries to 1 o'clock as it is at the moment, but only after 1 o'clock to 3 every night. If the application is granted, it would be purely till 3 o'clock. We're not seeking beyond that. As you've heard, the council's new licensing policy does allow in the other areas for 2 o'clock for home deliveries anyway. So just to get that on the record. But we're asking for 3, so it's still, I appreciate, outside the matrix. Obviously, this is a variation, Chair. The current licence is not under consideration. You've heard it's not in the CSA or the SSA. Now we know that the current policy is in force, and I did check that. And I can also tell the panel at this stage, yes, I did check the Just Eat site. I've done it twice in the last week, and it does show 1 o'clock daily or week. The Uber Eats, which I think they use sometimes, actually shows midnight. But the main one that Mr. Khan uses is Just Eat to take the orders, but the drivers are all employees of the company, of the business. Um, uh, as I say, I think it's been clarified about the current policy. I was going to argue that the new policy applies to it, but I think that's been agreed, so I don't need to go along that line. We do not have a dine-in service at this venue, so it's always going to be until 1 o'clock home delivery and customer collections, and after that, if it's granted, it would be purely home deliveries. They don't want to have people coming to the shop after 1, obviously for noise reasons, antisocial behaviour reasons, that sort of thing. I'm sorry it's rather noisy here because we're right on the main road. The premises will close to the public, as I've confirmed, at 1 o'clock daily, and any service would be pre-ordered deliveries. As I say, the Just Eats is the order platform. Delivery staff are employed locally, and they provide a takeaway service over a 4-mile radius. Mr. Khan and his business partner have operated this shop for over 6 years. He's been working in the catering trade for more than 10 years and brings that experience to the shop, and they do employ 4 staff. Obviously, as members will be aware, Chair, the hospitality trade has taken a bashing in the past few years, and that does include takeaways and restaurants. What we're starting with, they've been through COVID, the energy crisis that's still affecting their prices, increased prices of goods, national minimum wage going up, the NIC contributions going up. So it's not been an easy time, and that is the reason behind it. It's nothing ulterior behind this application. It is purely to make the business and maintain the viability of the business. And of course, there's a lot more people these days do order takeaways. They prefer to do that, shall we say, than cooking at home. And we see that where we live as well. Mr. Khan has agreed, as you've heard, a number of conditions with the Environmental Protection Officer, which will remain in force because that's what was agreed, and they're listed in the redacted papers at the end of the agenda. I have no problem with what's been agreed. Planning have made comment on the application too, but not a representation. And as you'll appreciate, licensing and planning are separate control regimes and cannot be duplicated onto each other. Mr. Khan is aware of the position replanning, and if the variation is granted, we'll make application to the planning department to change the consent. We felt it was better, he did at the time, to make the license application first, given the matrix policy, rather than spending all that money on planning. But he is aware of the need to do so. We have submitted additional conditions relating to prevention of crime and disorder and public nuisance and protecting children from harm. After Mr. Khan asked us to represent him, and those are included in the agenda paper under additional conditions. I will go on to say, Chair, obviously you've heard from one of the officers, there are no representations from any local residents or businesses who are Mr. Khan's customer base. Given that the area where the business is located is highly residential, especially in the back streets, which I'm looking at the moment, I think it's positive that the residents and local businesses have not raised any representations. I'm not going to go through the first lot of conditions because you've got them on your papers under additional conditions. There are the 2 representations we've heard from the police and the licensing authority. We did, as I'm grateful to Staplehurst has confirmed, that we did reach out to the police in LA, and I had a useful chat with Ms. Staplehurst on Friday. I have passed that on to Mr. Khan, so he is aware of what was discussed. As a result of our conversation, I had suggested to Ms. Staplehurst that we would propose further conditions, which we have done, and were circulated to the 2 responsible authorities and to the licensing authority. There's a list of, under prevention of crime and disorder, there's a list of 8 additional conditions, and a few under public nuisance, but we've enhanced the conditions relating to CCTV. The staff have, I've confirmed with Mr. Khan, the staff have been trained and are able to operate the system, so can provide footage for the police if they need it. And they have got a camera outside, and I have explained that to Mr. Khan, that a lot of the time it is the street area that the police want to look at, but the staff are now able to use it. They do actually, if this batch of conditions will only apply if the variation is granted. So I don't want to put an onus on Mr. Khan for additional conditions and expense while he's already struggling. There is going to be, if it's granted, there will be an incident book as well, or record things like crimes reported, customers being excluded, complaints received, and the outcome. That one, of course, is important. Appropriate notices will be displayed about the CCTV, the hours for refreshment, to respect residents, etc., etc. 2 staff minimum, Sunday to Thursday, 3 on Friday and Saturday. That would be after 11 o'clock, obviously, because the licence doesn't, as you all know, doesn't apply until then. All staff would receive training on induction and refresher training every 6 months, including in the Act itself and premises licensing and common sense measures like serving customers in turn. Written training records kept. Last orders to be taken 20 minutes before the terminal hour on any night. Working closely and engaging with the local police team and the police and council licensing teams. No, they don't allow alcohol in the premises anyway, but that would be offered as a condition. No alcohol allowed in the premises or consumed on the premises at any time. A phone number to be displayed to the front of the premises for residents to call with any concerns, and obviously adequate litter bins outside, rather than having rubbish thrown on the streets, which nobody wants to see. There are these conditions then are in place if the members are minded to grant the variation. I don't think we need to go through any more on those. We stress it's important that any duplication should be avoided, please, on the conditions, because we've got conditions agreed with environmental protection and 2 lots that we've proposed, plus what the original agent put on the application. So we would say, Chair, that the environmental protection condition should take precedence, and the last batch that we put forward, if you do grant the variation, would be the ones that we would want to suggest are more appropriately worded, and the ones we offered originally. Read the comments made by the police and licensed officer. I can confirm, as I said, it is operational. I've checked it and seen it. I've covered about the Just Eat site. Yes, it was checked. I checked it last week and I checked it again yesterday. And it's definitely showing 1 o'clock, which is the current closing time. All staff will be retrained in the new conditions if the variation is granted to the now requested time of 3 o'clock. I have explained to Mr. Khan we can help him with that and we'll do so. We also offer mentoring to our clients, so it's not just a case of we do the hearing and then they're left on their own. We keep in touch with them, so if he wants advice, he can either ring me or email me and we can help him sort problems out. We do come to Brighton several times a year, so we will be around to see him anyway. Yeah. And I've probably got to come back in the next couple of weeks anyway. So if you want staff training done, if you do grant the variation, we will do that for him. Mr. Khan is adamant that when the officers were talking about the breach of times, the restaurant or the premises was always closed to the public. Yes, he has confirmed they did make some deliveries after hours, mainly by mistake. He's learnt from the letters and he's genuinely, I spoke to him at length again last night. He's genuinely sorry and remorseful for any shortcomings. But since the last letter from the police in 2025, he has not opened the shop after 1 o'clock. So he has learned the lesson, and going forward, I think he will comply with that. Yes. He is aware of the seriousness of breaching licence conditions and the penalties that the courts can impose, or what would happen if he had his licence reviewed. So I think in all the circumstances, he admitted it to me straight away. I think he's genuinely sorry and remorseful. He needs the additional hours, as I've stressed, Chair, for the business to be viable in the current climate, and we're asking you to grant that and give him a chance. And I don't think you'll have any problems with him whatsoever. We'll be back to see him, as I've said, and I would ask you to grant on that basis. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for representation, Graham. Go to my fellow councillors for any questions. Paul, so you've indicated.
Thank you, Chair. So, excuse me. Thank you, Graham. Graham, you're asking us to do something that requires an extraordinary reason to do. So that's grant a licence past the 2 o'clock deadline in the matrix. I was listening to you, but I didn't hear the extraordinary reason that we should say yes.
I would answer, Councillor, on that. With the list of robust conditions, that the licensing objectives will be fully promoted. I mean, I've gone through them the additional ones we've offered, that they will be fully promoted. And this venue will not, by doing home deliveries only and using e-bikes, etc., is not going to undermine any of those objectives.
Thanks, Graham. No, I get that, and I trust what you're saying, and I trust the applicant as well that he intends to do that. But what I'm looking for is the reason to grant a licence past 2 o'clock, and it's brilliant that if the licence is granted past 2 o'clock, that the applicant will do their best to make sure that it's a success. But I'm not hearing the initial reason to go past 2 o'clock.
Well, apart from anything else, as I've said, Councillor, it's the viability of the business. They've been all hospitality's been hit. We want to keep the business open. It's people's jobs and things like that, and it's a responsible thing to do. They just need that additional hour to make it cost effective, basically, and to provide a service to local people. The demand is there.
Thanks, Graham.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Have you got any further questions, Paul? Or no? I think so. I'll pass them over to Alison.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Graham. Yes, I appreciate all the things that you've said. I think what I find sort of a bit of a shame is that actually there's been no overtures to kind of work with the police and up to this point, because now you're asking us to trust you to do something that's outside, as my colleagues say, outside the matrix. But there's no sort of evidence to this point that everything's been run sort of super smoothly and in accordance with what the police would hope for. I appreciate there's an economic argument. I do understand that, and I think the new licensing policy takes that into account, because we're well aware that that it's a difficult time, difficult out there, difficult market. My specific question, I suppose, is about staffing and about deliveries. So I think you mentioned that there were 4 staff. Is that right? Are they full time, and are they delivery people as well, or?
I'll ask Mr. Khan to answer that if I may.
Okay.
I'm standing in front of the camera.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Yes, what was the question?
How many staff have you got, and how many are them are delivery drivers?
Including with the driver, 4 staff.
So how many delivery drivers do you have?
2 drivers.
2 drivers. So you've got 2 people in the premises and 2
That's right.
doing the driving. One of the conditions was about delivering on foot, which is not something I'm familiar with. I mean, e-bikes, yes, but is that something that you do currently? Do you deliver pizza on foot?
No, we do deliver on the e-bike and some electronic car as well.
Okay, but not on foot. But you've agreed that you would deliver on foot. I mean, that's part of the conditions.
Oh, like walking,
yeah?
Yeah. Walking, like our delivery, we do deliver like 4.5 miles, so we can't be using as well for that. So we need to use like electric car as well for this.
No, I agree. I'm just confused why you would agree to a condition to deliveries being made on foot when you can't expect somebody to walk with a pizza 4 miles, can you?
No.
I mean, if it was in the immediate vicinity, Councillor, yes, he could. I mean,
but isn't that one of the conditions that you've agreed to? Am I confused?
I think it did long before I got involved, unfortunately.
Exactly.
There might have to be a minor variation to vary that.
Yeah.
Okay, because I saw that there was there was an email exchange, wasn't there, where you did say that yes, you would agree to it. Sorry, do you want to come in,
Yes,
Rebecca?
Rebecca's indicating.
Well, I think it says or on foot. I think it's deliveries, but my e-bikes are on foot. But it doesn't say electric cars. I mean, I don't know, and there are some contradictions in those. I mean, condition 2 implies that you might be using cars rather than. So I don't know. It does maybe need some clarification because it's not that clear.
I agree with Rebecca there.
So who's going to clarify?
Yeah. So
I mean, as we will be working with Mr. Khan going forward, I will contact the EPT and see if we can clarify those conditions. Happy to do that.
Could I also ask why I mean, this is a very 11th hour announcement that or even 12th hour, I might say, announcement that you've changed your minds from 5 till 3. What's brought that on, if you don't mind me asking?
Following the conversation I had with Staplehurst on Friday, and the opportunity to meet Mr. Khan over the yesterday, because we came down early to meet him and to have an initial conversation. This was discussed at length last night, and we looked at the possibility of 3 o'clock and firmed up on it this morning, Councillor. And I just felt it was a better option to go for to start with, so it's more staged.
So you've only just been brought on board then, basically.
A couple of weeks ago, wasn't it?
Couple of weeks, yeah.
Because I don't think the previous agent is a food specialist.
Food specialist.
Yeah, he's a food specialist. He did the application for Mr. Khan,
Yes,
but he doesn't. He's not done hearing presentations before. I've only been doing it for 20.
Yes. How long have you run the business, Mr. Khan?
It's been more than 6 years.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
We didn't have any problems in 6 years. I'm truly sorry to the police that we are like open the light, as I said to the Graham as well. I take in that, but after that, when I follow the role, whatever they give me the condition, I follow that. And all the local people here, we don't have any problem with them. Anyone they like the food as well, the hospitality here. So we don't have any issue. And what that fight is happened as well is just next door to the pub. So it's happened there, but it's blame come on us. So it's nothing to do with us. We don't have any issues.
No, you're not being blamed. You're not being blamed.
Yeah,
for that.
exactly.
Okay. I don't think I have any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thanks. Thank you there. So just follow up to Ms. Connie, who's been there for 6 years, but sorry if I misheard earlier. I think Hannah mentioned that there was an instance 7 years ago. Was that with a previous owner? Sorry if I misheard.
Yeah, like seven years, something like this. Yeah. So as I say, like more than 6 years. So yeah, that's right. Say
Okay.
7.
Yeah. So thanks. So that clarifies that. Thank you. Okay. Every other question I had has been covered personally. So if there's nothing further from my councillor colleagues, I'll pass over. Oh, Alison.
Sorry, I just had a little note from when I was reading the papers over the weekend, and I just forgot to mention it. I think, I mean, obviously we've got the point that my colleagues made, about going outside what is the recommended, advice on the matrix. But I'm curious, why didn't you pre-consult with police? Because isn't that strikes me as a sort of a good way to run one's business.
I understand what you're saying, Councillor, but it's not a requirement under the legislation, and I think more importantly, the previous agent maybe wasn't experienced in that side of things. I mean, certainly, if we were looking at something in the CSA now or the stress area, yes, we would have consulted the police. Had I looked at this, given the new SLP, we would have spoken to Hannah and to Corinne about this before we got to this stage.
Okay, brilliant. All right, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. It's obviously, something that you could look at going forwards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Fair. Corinne, have you got any questions you'd like to ask at this stage?
Yes, just one. Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to check, is this Mr. Khan's only shop, or is it part of a franchise? I wasn't quite sure if it was a standalone premises or if there were other express pizza and chickens.
I'm going to ask him to answer that, but my understanding, Corinne, is that this is his only shop. There are others with the same names, maybe owned by friends.
Okay, yeah.
But not Mr. Khan's involvement. His involvement is purely in the Hove shop.
So okay, and how many times are you there all the time, Mr. Khan, at the premises, or?
Yeah, I'm working here. Yes.
Are you here every day?
Yeah, every day.
Yes, he's here every day.
Yeah. I just wanted to check in case he had to go to other stores or how often he was there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely, thank you there. And Hannah, is there any questions you'd like to ask at this stage?
Yes, please, Chair. Graham, one of the conditions or ideas that we discussed on Friday was the business crime reduction partnership.
That's my fault. I have just mentioned that to Mr. Khan while we were discussing. If the variation is granted, yes, he would be minded to join that, as we discussed. Obviously, I've explained to him the radios don't work out here, but he can email in, he can phone in to the BCRP. But yes, he'd be interested if it's granted.
Okay, so there's been no research on how much the membership for DISC would cost at the minute, or?
No, I've only been down over the weekend, so we could look into that for him. As I say, I've got to come back in a couple of weeks about another premises, so I'll probably do the training then and look into the BCRP. Maybe I could give you a ring and ask.
Yeah, I'm always happy to help. So Graham, you mentioned the training. So I know you said that you checked the CCTV, which is the condition on the license, but has there been like the training or incident log put in over the weekend?
We haven't had time because I didn't meet until last night.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We had a rather difficult journey because the trains were out again yesterday, so they shoved us via East Grinstead and
Oh, long way out.
Yes, it was a very long journey. But yes, we will be working with him. I do the mentoring. I've still got clients that we did, say, 5-6 years ago that phone into us and we can advise them. It's free of charge. I mean, we're all in the business to help each other, so that's what we want to do.
Absolutely. And my last question is to Mr. Khan. With the letters that were sent to you, you never responded back to us. Can I just ask why?
The letter happened in 2025.
Yeah.
Okay. What was it? I received the email from you guys. I'm agree with it. And then after that, I take my action. So I stopped the Uber and delivery, everything banded. To be honest, I have a little bit difficulty with the writing and stuff like this to reply you back. But I did I reduced the hour back to 1 o'clock. So what was it usually open? But I'm truly sorry for that, what has happened. But after this day, we will be responsible for any email and stuff like this from you guys. And whatever the condition is come to us, we will follow that. Yes.
And I'll be there to make sure he does.
And Graham already told me, so for that training, whatever you guys give me the condition, we will start that as well to join the PCR group as well. So I will follow that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So if there's no further questions to any member at this stage at all, we can move on to the closing summaries. So this is an opportunity where each parties have an opportunity to sum up. It's not a time to bring in any new information which hasn't already been raised, but I'll begin with the licensing officer. So Donna, if you'd like to present your closing summary, please.
Thank you, Chair. This hearing's for a variation of a current licence for Express Pizza and Chicken, 172 Portland Road, Hove. You have heard from all parties present. During the hearing, it was proposed by the applicant of a reduction of the hours from 5 a.m. to 3 a.m. for deliveries only. And it was highlighted that clarification would be required regarding conditions regarding delivery, for example, whether they're going to be on foot or bike or car. The licence guidance states that in determining the application, with a view to promoting the licensing objectives in the overall interest of the local community, the licensing authority must give appropriate weight to the steps that are appropriate to promote the licensing objectives, the representations including supporting information provided by all parties, the guidance, its own statement of licensing policy. It is important to know that each application will be given individual consideration on its own merits. After considering all the relevant issues, the licensing authority may grant the application subject to certain conditions, and any conditions added to the licence to meet the licence objective should be clear, precise and enforceable. Alternatively, the licensing authority may refuse the application on the grounds that it is appropriate for the promotion of the the licence objectives and against the statement of licence policy. Thank you.
Thank you there, Donna. Hannah, would you like to come in with your closing statement, please?
Thank you, Chair. Currently, Sussex Police invite the licensing authority to seriously consider refusing this application following the police breaches and concerns. We would propose that the applicant work with Sussex Police in order to adhere to licence conditions and install the positive changes. Then in order to support the business, a variation could be submitted in the future, but currently I have nothing to evidence that this premises is operating safely or responsibly in line with the current licence conditions, in line with the policy, or in line with the licensing objectives. Thank you.
Thank you there. And Graham, would you like to come in with your closing summary, please?
Chair, obviously we're maintaining our request to the licensing subcommittee that we'd ask you to consider extending the hours till 3 for home deliveries only all week. I can confirm, I mean, with what Ms Staplehurst just said, I can confirm that in respect of the current condition, we're not talking about the insurance policy, it's the other one, but the CCTV, yes, the staff have been trained, seen the monitor, it is working, it is up to date, so they are compliant. I have every reason to believe, in view of what Mr Khan has said this morning, that he will comply with the conditions. If you grant the variation and impose those conditions, he will comply with them. We will be back, as you've heard, to, in that case, to train the staff, and we'll be making sure that he does comply. So I ask you to grant it, Chair, please, to 3 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you there. Corinne, I did see your hand go up. Is that an old hand, was it? Or...
Yeah, it was just I was going to be doing my summary before.
I beg your pardon,
Graham,
sorry, that was my mistake.
No.
Yeah, you're welcome to now.
Thank you, Chair. I say it won't be long. But my representation was made on behalf of the Licensing Authority on the grounds of the licensing objectives of the prevention of crime and disorder and the prevention of public nuisance, and having regard to the Council's statement of licensing policy. Due to the hours being applied for and the lack of previous engagement from the premises licence holder, I felt it was necessary to bring this application before the panel to carefully scrutinise the application and determine the final outcome. Many thanks.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to ask if our legal advisor has any closing comments you wish to make, Rebecca.
Nothing much to add. I mean, there is still some uncertainty about which conditions are agreed with environmental protection, because they were previously agreed, but they now seem not to be all agreed. I don't know when
so
that
what
could
would
be.
So what would be the process for that? How are we taking that when we make our consideration?
Yes, I mean, so delivery shall only be made by staff on e-bikes or on foot. That was previously agreed, but you're saying it's not actually agreed now. Is that right for the applicant? I mean,
no, we're not saying it's not agreed, Chair. I mean, they were agreed with the EPT. The problem is we've got that contradiction. I think Corinne brought up that it clashes with condition that was agreed, condition 2, that seems to refer to motor vehicles. So it may just be a case of going back to the EPT officer and just clarifying those 2 points, which is best. And I would be happy to give an undertaking to do that.
But you, but in terms of if the panel were minded to grant what conditions they would put, would it be acceptable to just do e-bikes or on foot, or are you saying you need electric vehicles as well?
I think I hadn't realised it's because he does 4 miles. The electric, the foot, obviously foot would be 3 hours before it got there. Be a bit cold. So I would have thought maybe they do need electric vehicles. And maybe if the panel grant the extension, we'd have to do a minor variation to put that through, because it has been agreed with the EPT, but they do clash.
Right. Okay.
It's a bit of a difficult one, that. Yeah.
Thanks, Donna.
Sorry, I'm just wondering whether, if the license is granted, whether prior to writing the conditions, this condition is agreed with EP before, because obviously once it goes on the license, it has to be complied with. So I can try to speak to EP and get them to amend. So would it be that deliveries will be made either via e-bikes, electric vehicles, and on foot if in close proximity of the premises?
That would be acceptable to Mr. Khan that Tom has suggested. Yeah, that's a good solution, we think. Yeah.
Yes.
So no problem from us.
Okay. Oh no, thanks for clarifying that. I suppose at this stage I will ask if Corinne or Hannah have got any views on that, as it's as it hasn't previously been canvassed to that degree. So I mean, Hannah, have you got any comments you wish to make on that part?
No, Chair, because obviously it's an environmental protection condition. So yeah, police wouldn't comment on that.
Thank you. And Corinne, assume it may be...
Same here, Chair. I defer to my colleagues in the environmental protection team if they were happy with it under the prevention of public nuisance.
Okay.
That would be okay with us.
Yeah, thanks, Vet. So I think we can now adjourn, and we'll make our decision within 5 working days. So thank you, everyone, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye now.